Okay, I actually have a meeting soon, so I don't have as much time as I would like to share what I want to share with y'all. But so yesterday I had a session with a client as far as weight loss and getting the body that they want, and a lot of things came up. I was like, damn, I got to talk about this. So I don't have enough time to go over everything I want to talk about, but I know we're going into the new year. We're going into 2026. It's December 30th as I record this video right now. And I know for a lot of you, this won't be your first time with the goal of losing weight and actually keeping it off as you go into the year 2026. I know this isn't the first time where, you wanted that body that you wanted going into this year. And what I want to do in this video is share some things with you that could actually help you not just get the weight off, but keep it off forever, right? That's the goal. That's what we want to do. And one of the things is there's weight loss information out there, right? But things are ever evolving and it's happening fast. So let me ask you this. Let's say I give you a map, a 1925 map of the city of Los Angeles. So Los Angeles, California, I give you a 1925 version map of the city of Los Angeles, and I tell you to use that map to find the crypto arena where the Los Angeles Lakers play basketball at, right? Used to be the Staples Center. It's probably going to be a little difficult, maybe for some of you impossible to find it, at least within a X amount of time. Why? The city is different. There's roads that exist today that didn't used to exist in 1925 that map wouldn't be able to tell you about, and vice versa. There was buildings, street names, all those things was different 100 years ago than they are today, right? And that's sort of what's happening today with the human body. The map for losing weight, for taking those inches off of your waist, for burning that visceral fat so you're at a much less risk of diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and things of that nature. The map has changed because the human body has actually changed quite a bit over the past 100 years. I'm not saying to the point that we evolved into this new species. I'm not even saying that the classic eat less, move more, calories in, calories out is like bullshit now, anything like that. It's actually still the main idea. But like they say, the devil is in the details. And I want to share some details where you can find the devil at and conquer them so you can finally get that body you want for 2026. So I'm going to share with you 3 ways how the body has changed in the past 100 years that may make a significant difference in your approach to getting that body that you want going into the new year. So, one is the average human body temperature used to be what? 98.6 degrees, right? But that's not no longer the case as we go into 2026, right? As we go into 2026, 97.9 degrees is today's average human body temperature. That's almost a whole degree difference, 0.7 degrees different. But why does this matter? What does this mean? This has to do with what's called our basal metabolic rate, or our BMR. Okay? And what does that mean? What does that have to do with anything? Let's erase this. Okay? The body's cooler now, which means the our BMR has dropped. It's lower now. And in this sense of basal metabolic rate, and it's lower now, which means our body is burning less calories. Okay, so burning less calories today than we used to burn. And I mean, as far as like when we're just sitting down, chilling, watching Netflix, sitting on the couch, laying down, our body is burning energy, is burning calories just for being alive, right? It costs calories for your heart to beat, for you to blink your eyes, for you to breathe, for you to think. All of these things cost calories. And we're not using as much calories today as we used to for all of these subconscious operations going on in the body, right? And that subtle difference makes a difference in our weight loss efforts because we burn less calories. That means you burn less fat, which makes fat loss a little more difficult than it used to be. Now, there's things that counteract that, but we'll get in that a little bit later. First, I'm going to teach you another way. that the human body has changed over time. Okay, because that was a very light one. These next two are a little more significant. So we're gonna get into what's called. So first, let's do this. It's fat cells in the body, right? Muscle cells. There's all kind of different these different cells, right? But the other fat cells is brown fat cells and white fat cells. Brown fat cells is what actually help regulate our body temperature to keep our body heated at 97.9 degrees a day. But for some of us, we'll still get 98.6 or even more, right? That's not everybody's, it varies. But the white fat cells' job is to keep you alive and to keep you alive by storing toxins that get into your body. And as it stores toxins, it expands. And as it expands, that's you gaining weight, that's you getting fat. But it's to keep you alive so that those toxins don't get in your bloodstreams, travel to your organs, and kill you, right? So the thing is, now we're consuming so many foods and drinks, and even in the air, we are consuming what's called these endocrine disrupting chemicals. And what they do is they bind to hormones in our body, which ultimately end up converting the different stem cells in our body into permanent white fat cells. Permanent fat cells, which means what? This increases your body's potential for weight gain and losing weight and things like that, right? So it works. So let's say this is your body, just to show you a visual, right? So we have these are the other cells in your body, like the brown, like the muscle cells and organ cells, whatever. And then we have our fat cells. And I'm not saying our body is made up of that many fat cells, but this is just to show the illustration, right? This was us normally. Now, as we consume these endocrine, I'm gonna just put EDC, endocrine disruptor chemicals, as this gets in our body, let me put your body, okay? As these get into your body, this transforms your body to now look like this. Other cells, fat cells. Okay? These are gonna be on your ultra processed, your processed food, some of the air you breathe, and things like that. I have another breakdown showing like, and you can also just look this up yourself. Endocrine disruptive chemicals that are switching, like they're turning stem cells into permanent fat cells in your body. Like, man, it can't be switched back. Okay, this was not the case 100 years ago. The body has changed. The human body has changed due to our lifestyle. We had a lot of technology come out over the past 100 years. Our lifestyles have changed pretty drastically over the last 100 years. Right. So, and it's making internal changes in our body. We've been evolving since our inception on this planet over the years incrementally. And these are just some of the incremental changes. And after a while, it becomes unrecognizable. But this is not an evolution lecture. That's not my specialty and nothing at all. But this is another example of how the human body changed. Now, this next one I'm about to show you is perhaps the highest leverage one, right? By the way, a source, well, no, let me just get into it. Third way, most high, this is like when you dial in on what I'm about to show you now, it could really change the game for you. Because, okay, let me break this down first. Before I get into like the number 3 way, I got to break this down first, right? We're familiar with the brain in our head. Right. But if we go into like the technical definition of a brain, which is a concentration of neurons, then it stands to reason that we actually have 3 brains, right? The brain in our head. Let me write it up here. Okay. So our head, we got a brain in it, billions of neurons, right? Then we have our heart. Okay, we got tens of thousands of neurons, which is concentration neurons, makes it another brain. And then we have our gut. Okay, gut, and there's hundreds of millions of neurons in our gut, which makes it a brain as well by the technical definition. Now, these are all connected by what's called the vagus nervous system. Okay? And in this in our vagus nervous system that connects the brain in our head, the brain in our heart, and the brain in our gut, information travels. Information travels all out your body through the neurons and the neurotransmitters and hormones and all of that. And when it comes to this vagus nervous system, so let me put information travel up, info travel, right? And that information travels upward 80% of the time. There's 80% of that information travels upward, not downward, right? So the information in our body, 80% of it on this vagus nervous system travels from gut to the brain in our head, or the heart to the brain in our head, 80% of that information. Which means what? 20%. We're only aware of 20% of what's going on as far as our actions and why we feel the way we feel and all of that. The rest of it is like subconscious because it's all coming from down here and it's informing the brain what to do. And you're thinking you're making these logical decisions, but you're actually making instinctual decisions and emotional decisions, as opposed to majority of the time logical decisions, no matter how much you want to try to fool yourself, right? Our brain up here is very creative and it can make things sound very compelling. But it's really just information coming from the gut to the brain. Now, when it comes to the gut, we have something influencing our gut brain, which is our gut bacteria, right? Our gut flora. And that's what we're about to get into. So the gut flora, our gut bacteria, the different colonies of bacteria in our gut, influences our gut brain, which has hundreds of millions of neurons concentrated in there. And it's sending information up, 80% of it going up to your head. So you're being controlled by that as opposed to the other way. So what we want to do, we have to rig this in our favor. Okay? Now, let's see. Let's just get rid of this. So now gut flora, 100 years ago, used to look like there's like these main gut bacteria, right? The most dominant ones. Bacteroidetes, right? I put B, Bacteroidetes and Firmicutes, right? Bacteroidetes is a gut bacteria that it uses what you eat to produce these energy-rich short-chain fatty acids. By energy-rich, it means it uses calories to produce these short-chain fatty acids to do all these magical things in your body for your health, right? So that's the B, Bacteroidetes. And 100 years ago, we had more of that type of bacteria in our gut than the Firmicutes bacteria in our gut, along with other types of gut bacteria. We had a much more diverse gut bacteria because gut bacteria diversity is important. Just like portfolio diversification, when you invest in different companies, we want diversity. It helps protect risk and things like that. Same thing with the gut. We want different types of gut bacteria. Now, what was happening, the difference between 100 years ago and today is what? We got different antibiotics. We have, we're sterilizing a lot of the food, right? That's why it's even kind of hard to get B12 and why vegans be needing supplements sometimes of B12 because it's not naturally from the dirt, the wood came from the dirt. Ultra processed foods. Protein bars, almond milk, like these things are compromising our gut bacteria diversity, killing off a lot of gut bacteria. We have half of the gut bacteria diversity that we used to have 100 years ago today. And also the thing is, so I brought up bacteroidetes. It basically makes you leaner, thinner, right? It helps burn fat because it helps burn more calories due to the short chain fatty acids it produces. Firmicutes actually is much more efficient at extracting calories from the food that you eat, right? So when you have, because today it looks like this, we have more Firmicutes than Bacteroidetes. So what does this mean? When you have more Firmicutes bacteria in you than Bacteroidetes in your gut, if you was to eat a slice of bread, since you have more of the Firmicutes, it's going to take more calories out of that bread, right? And this will burn the calories, but since it's not as much of the bacteroidetes, your body is going to, 100 years ago, you eat a slice of bread, it wouldn't be as much calories going into your body due to your gut bacteria composition. Today, your body is taking more calories out of food than it used to. So you can eat that exact same food, that exact same slice of bread, that exact same apple, that exact same donut, drink that exact same Coca-Cola. Some of our bodies will take less calories from the food that we have due to our gut bacteria composition because we may have more bacteroidetes still than firmicutes. This is why people are like, yo, how you eat so much and you still stay so thin? This is part of it. It's a big part of it. Also because they don't have as much of the fat cells. Also because they built their metabolism up to where they can have, so their body temperature isn't so low because they're burning more calories at rest because their basal metabolic rate is higher. Okay? It's these things, it's these little details. It's these little details that just saying calories in, calories out isn't quite as sufficient. Because that doesn't teach you how to raise your basal metabolic rate. If I just tell you eat less and move more, that doesn't tell you how to raise your basal metabolic rate to where your body is burning more calories when you're at rest. That doesn't tell you how to manipulate the diversification and composition of your gut bacteria so you can have more gut bacteria that does operations to burn more calories from you instead of doing operations that take more calories and put it in your body. That doesn't inform you in sources of endocrine disruption chemicals that you may be consuming in your body that's converting stem cells into permanent fat cells. If I just say eat less, move more, and calories in, calories out, that doesn't tell you that, right? But now that you're aware of that, at the very least, you can go look up how to address these things and how to approach these things. So, and as we can see, things, is a little sophisticated, right? Many of you may just now be realize like, damn, well, no wonder it's feel like I can't lose any weight. Yo, I probably got more firmicutes bacteria than the bacteroidetes. You had no idea how to approach that or that was even a thing. So many of us are fighting battles that we don't even know that we're fighting. You don't even know what you don't know. It's hard to do this alone. Like many of you have been struggling for so long because you've been trying to do it alone, not knowing what you're up against, right? We have to consider a different approach. Let's put it like this. A heart surgeon can't perform open heart surgery on themselves, right? They can't. We have blind spots, and if your house is on fire, are you going to go on YouTube and say how to be a fireman so you can put the fire out yourself? Are you going to look up all the information and try to figure it out on your own? Or are you just going to call the goddamn 911 to get the fire people out there to put the damn fire out? This is how we have to approach it. We have to think of, utilizing our resources and going to mentors and people who've been on the path before, right? To help with these things because they're going to see what you can't see. They're going to see all your blind spots. It even says in the Bible, Proverbs chapter 15, verse 22, right? To say it in a more modern English version, plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. Okay, this is ancient wisdom. And some battles that we're fighting are so intricate and sophisticated. You'd be playing yourself to think that you could do it alone. And the longer it takes for you to reach your full potential, then the longer it takes for you to serve others in the greatest capacity that you can serve them. Right? This isn't just for you. Like this is we don't the purpose of life isn't to become your greatest self just to serve yourself. It's to give back to others. And speed matters. Like how much more time do you have to waste? How much more time do you have to waste on these things? Speed is like what it's really all about. Like you don't get rich off of the amount of money. You get rich because of how fast you made the money, right? Probably all of us make $1 million over our whole lifetime, but it's the person who was able to make the $1 million within a year or within a month because he made it so much faster than everybody else. I've seen situations where people lost weight too slow, and it literally cost them their life. And if for some other people, it may have costed them an organ, like a kidney or a heart transplant or something like that, right? Time is of the essence. We can't waste time. And we have to do what we know makes sense. We have to put ourselves in the best position to move forward, to accomplish our goals so that we could be the best servant that we could be. Yeah, I think that's enough for this video. I know this will help somebody out there. Check y'all in the next one. Till next time. Peace.